Achilleas Kalopedis. I'm an engineer and a consultant. I'm a director of the environmental sector in a consultancy based here in Nicosia, where we deal with planning, environmental, and transport. We provide environmental, transport, and planning services to both private and public clients. We're going to be discussing this tool, this stamp tool, which we developed together with the University of Cyprus. It's essentially a tool on how to assess the sustainability of master plans using this tool. So we'll do it very briefly. I understand I have around 20 minutes, Ilaria? Yeah. Something like that? Yeah. Okay, so we'll do it very briefly, and then we'll see if we can get the platform to work. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm not going to go and describe again what sustainability is. I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you had lectures defining and describing what sustainability is. Very, very briefly, according to the UN World Commission on Environment Development, in 1997, sustainability was defined as something that meets the needs of the present without compromising the needs of future generations to meet their own needs. So it affects economic growth, environmental care, and social well-being. Okay, so we are talking about master plans in this particular case. I understand that I'm speaking to a combination of architects, engineers, and planners. Ilaria, correct me if I'm wrong. So you are aware, and I understand of what a master plan is. You might even have been involved in this in designing one, or been involved in the ins and outs of what a master plan is. So what's a sustainable master plan? It's a master plan where social, environmental, and economic needs must be taken into account. It should meet human needs for preserving the environment, so that these needs can be met not only in the present, but also for the indefinite future, for future generations. So why do we want sustainability? Successful, sustainable master plan will help make sustainable, inclusive, and safe spaces for people to live in and enjoy for generations to come. This is an image. It's an AI-generated image. It doesn't exist, of a new city that is proposed in the States, in the desert, called Telosa. It's meant to be. It's proposed to be the most sustainable city so far. It has some amazing cost, like 400 billion. It's still yet planned. It's not yet constructed, and it's an objective. It's a dream. I don't know if it will ever come to be constructed or what, but this is the proposal. So how can we ensure or measure sustainability in master plans? Okay, there are many methods and tools. Sorry. One is by carrying out an environmental impact assessment. Here in Cyprus, and I'm sure this is true for most countries, at least in the EU, for a master plan to get a planning approval, it must first go through an environmental impact assessment process, where consultant carries this assessment and identifies any environmental issues during the construction and operation of this master plan, so that certain conditions can be imposed, normally by the environmental authority. Now, this is normally carrying out after design is completed and during the planning stage. So it doesn't give you the opportunity to come back and redesign unless an extremely serious issue has been identified. It doesn't give you the opportunity to design or change your design during the assessment process. The next step is to carry out a clear public participation process. Governance and to include the public in your design is very, very important in ensuring sustainability. It's very useful, obviously, to evaluate various factors and metrics to identify areas for improvement as early as possible. And in general terms, the design must ensure that the master plan contributes positively to the environment, the economy, and the society. So there have been some tools for sustainability. Most of these are certification tools. You may have heard of BREEAM and LEED, which are certification tools. There's also a tool called SPEAR, which has been developed by a company called Arab in the UK. It's quite a complicated tool. It's not so simple, and these tools and these certification tools are not designed specifically for master plans. What other tools and methods are available? So, I mean, you can use geographic information systems, map any environmental parameters and environmental constraints in order to inform sustainable site planning. You can use GIS to identify demographics, community facilities, any social infrastructure and gaps in order to inform your redesign. To assess accessibility and proximity to key transport services. Life cycle assessment is also a tool that can be used to assess the environmental impact associated with the master plan. It assesses the impact associated with all the stages of a project, of a project life cycle, and takes into account materials and all the way up to the disposal. There are also carbon footprint calculators for large projects. At least in other countries, it was essential and was requested. In Cyprus, we have recently been involved in 2 large master plans, and the environmental authority has requested for both of those an estimation of carbon footprint. The difficulty with this is that normally at the master plan stage, it's very difficult to estimate accurately the carbon footprint because it requires information on materials and the extraction, which are not, and the construction methods, which are not readily available at this master plan stage. However, we do this now. So we identified this need for a sustainability tool for assessing the degree of sustainability of master plans. We wanted something simple, something that would recommend actions to improve the sustainability of a project, something that would provide immediate feedback, and something that would assist master planners and designers to incorporate sustainability as much as possible into the design. So a good master plan or a good design should take into account the following parameters: obviously environmental, social, and economic issues, the community and the stakeholders, inclusivity, mobility, road safety, air quality, energy and climate, the preservation and protection of the biodiversity, water management, soil and landscape, waste management, the land uses, and construction and materials. So this tool was created through collaboration between our company, L.L.C Planning Partnership, and the SURF Research Club, the SURF, not club, lab, the SURF Research Lab, and the Software Engineering and Internet Technologies Lab at the University of Cyprus. It's a working tool at the moment. It has a platform, which will show you the links shortly, with potential for improvement. Hopefully, we will find the time and resources to improve it at some time shortly in the future. It's free to use. It comprises simple questions that can be answered by the designers. So it's a self-check. It's a thematic assessment, and it has a visual output for easy understanding. So, as we said, it's a free-to-use web-based platform. Here is the link. It's a free registration. You need to register some details, your name and your email, and you get free access. You can use the QR code for accessing. We'll try very briefly at the end of the session to access it, see if we can. I'm only saying if we can because lately we've been having some issues with connection issues. So let's see. So it's designed to assist practitioners, students, and consultants in the built environment to assess the degree of sustainability of a proposed master plan and to incorporate sustainability into the design. It's aimed for professionals, academics, and also professionals in the built and private sectors, so planning authorities, environmental authorities, and so on. So how does it work? It carries the evaluation of various projects. It's evaluated across 14 categories. Each evaluation provides a chart for a project, and it allows comparative evaluations to decide which plan is greener or more environmentally friendly than the other. Okay, so how do you use this? After registering, you're asked to input the project details and select relevant sustainability parameters. The user is then asked to answer a number of questions in 14 sustainability categories. And then based on your answers, it creates a sustainability assessment chart for visual feedback. And the goal is to identify the strengths, weaknesses, and improvements for sustainable master planning. So these are the 14 categories that were identified for STAMP. This is a screen that you'll get after clicking on the link and registering. You click on each of the 14 categories and you answer a set of questions. And depending on your answer, you'll get a sustainability chart output. So this is an example, for instance, for air quality. So this is one or two questions. For instance, it asks, does the master plan design take measures to reduce traffic flow, which is a source of air pollution? If yes, to what extent? And you have to answer 0 if it does not, to no or minimal extent, or 3 to a great extent. So it's a method, it's a self-check, but it's a method of identifying weaknesses in your design or strengthening your design in order to go back and carry out any possible improvements. So the second question is, does the design consider cross ventilation, stack ventilation in night freezes, sufficient and adequately located openings, room depth, atrium, space between buildings, etc.? So after you design it, you have to answer, to have it taken this into account to minimal extent or to greater extent. And based on your answer, it will give you a visual representation of the strengths and weaknesses of your design. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to go very, very briefly of an example that we carried out. This a master plan called the Berengario Master Plan. Is located in the Polomedia area in Limassol. It's a project that our company undertook for the Polomedia municipality. It's a master plan that was designed initially by the planning department. It has a total area of 260,000 square meters, that should say, not cubic meters, is wrong. And it was a settlement originally for the British forces and their families. It has been abandoned in 1988 and has been classified as a brownfield site. So in 2018, the Council of Ministers decided to reutilize the area and with the help of the Department of Town Planning and Housing, created the first draft of a master plan. In January 2020, we were appointed to assist with the improvement of the master plan, and we came up with a new master plan where we located some of the users and assisted with the creation of a functional road network based on sustainability mobility principles. So all in all, so far, the master plan underwent 3 design iterations. I am aware that it's now going through a 4th design iteration, by the Department of Town Planning and Housing, and it's taking into account our recommendations. We don't yet have the new master plan. It will be very interesting to see how that fares compared to the others. So this is the preliminary master plan. It had 4 distinct areas, which were divided very crudely by a large 4-lane road with a roundabout in the middle. So it split the site into 4, if you want, and included various uses for the Cyprus University of Technology, an R&D center, public school, the municipal building of Kanopoli Media, swimming pool, and open public and green spaces. So this wasn't a very nice plan. The road dissected the plan. It wasn't very easy to get from one place to another. They didn't take into account existing green areas. So this is the revised 2020 master plan, where we took a more sustainable approach. We got rid of the large 4-lane road in the middle. We used existing roads. We utilized the existing green areas, and we applied contemporary principles of sustainable development and mobility. Okay, this is the current master plan. It's the third evaluation. This took place in 2022. It maintained the 2020 uses, but arranged them a little bit and proposed some changes to the road networking system. Some ALA proposals were not incorporated or finalized, but it's still a big improvement from the 2018 version. We'll wait to see what the 2023, 2024 version is like. So we'll cover the assessment based on these 3 versions, and you can see that the original 2018 master plan is the blue star diagram here. The values are 0 in the center and 3 on the outer border. So the idea is the larger the area, the larger you are towards the number 3, the more sustainable the master plan is. You can see the original design had some weaknesses with regards to soil and waste. There is 0 here in construction materials because we didn't have any information here. So actually, this part was not these questions here were not answered. So they were not applicable. But you can see that with the new master plan, with the new design, and with the new sustainability transport principles, there was an improvement in air quality, an improvement in the vision and strategy, and community facilities. And I know for a fact that there were a number of additional stakeholder engagements that took place. So this was substantially improved. So you can see that there is an overall improvement from the original design. So this is a general description of what STAMP does. You're welcome to try it out. Ilaria, shall we give it a go and see if we can very, very briefly go in the platform and show how it works? Let's see.
Let's try it. You're gonna do it yourself?
Well, I logged in earlier, so I'm cheating a bit. So, okay, so you click the link, you get into registration, and this is the first page after you register. Now, I've got a couple of master plans here that we worked with. If it's the first time that you would use this, of course, you go to add a new master plan, and it would ask you a number of questions. Let's go to the existing one. Let's go to the UCY one, which have it's very slow, but let's see. Okay, so if this is your first master plan, it would ask you a number of questions here. So the level of detail of your design, if it's low, medium, or high. Low generally means a design of land uses only. High would mean close to final design. And medium is, I'm not sure what medium is actually, Laria. it's a good level of land uses and road network, I think, but not construction standard. Yeah. Correct?
I think we might be looking at plot divisions already, but no actual buildings design.
So there's a few questions here that it does, because the questions that it would ask you afterwards are affected by these questions. So it asks you if the master plan is located at the brownfield site, of whether it incorporates dangerous or hazardous uses, and if it's located in a reservoir installation. So depending on your answers, it would change the questions. So let's look at evaluation that we're carrying out. You'll see there are 14 categories. We've answered 2 of these. Okay, so this is the screen that you get. So these are the 14 categories. These are the questions. These are the questions that you must answer. You can see that we answered the construction and community categories, and depending on your answers, you get a mark or a value. And then if you go back, it allows you to carry out an evaluation of a new revision of the master plan. So you can carry out a comparison between the first version and the second version. So let's go, for instance, in let's do, I don't know, land uses. Very slow.
Sorry, so will be.
Okay, land uses only has a couple of questions. Some teams have 4 or 5, some have 2. It depends. So it asks you, the first question is whether or not the proposed uses are compatible with each other, and then we'll have to pick out an answer which closely resembles our design. And also question number 2 is to what extent are the proposed uses not conflicting with the surrounding environment and uses. Okay, so let's do a couple just so you see how it works. Okay, and then you answer these questions, you carry out submit, and then you should get a visual representation of the answers. Okay, so we have a value of 2 now. Could be improved, not too bad. So, for instance, it's a good what it does, it gives you a self-understanding of the level of sustainability of your master plan. Has it been thought about? Can it be improved? How can it be improved? And then ideally, the designer should go back, have a look at that particular theme and see how you can improve it. And then come back and do a new revision and carry the comparison check. This is basically the tool. Feel free to use it. Would love to hear your comments if you have any. Hopefully we can try and improve it sometime shortly in the future. Ilaria, do you have anything to add before we go into any questions?
No, I see some confused faces at the front for some reason, so I will ask.
Okay, shall I keep sharing? Shall I stop sharing?
I think keep sharing, yeah?
No,
okay.
I want to understand where and how does it say your release parameters? Because I cannot see exactly what it's mentioned. Or this recommendation where to go and improve what? I mean.
Okay. So these are the 14 parameters. Okay. Based on the answers and what you have taken into account during the design, it will give you a value between 0 and 3. Where you have a low value, you will see that there is some improvement to be made. For instance, have you taken into account the air quality? What have you done to take into account the air quality? Have you taken into account the soil sealing? Have you incorporated, for instance, permeable surfaces, or is it just hard surfaces which does not help the percolation of water and the enrichment of the aquifer? So when you see that you have a low result, you say, okay, then I have to do something about this. If you read the questions and the answers, it does give you some guidance about how to improve the design. In the next version, we'd like to make it a bit clearer and actually come up with direct instructions on how to make it clearer. Okay, we haven't done that yet, but I think if you look at the answers to the questions, you should be able to understand what steps you need to take to improve sustainability in particular themes. I don't know if I have answered your question.
Shall I expand a bit on that? So the value you get here and the color is an aggregated value. Basically, it's an average of what you answer to the question. So let's say in community, you're scoring pretty low. Where are you scoring low? You need to go back to the questions that you answer. So obviously, if you answer 3 to 1, it's not that one. It's the ones you answered 0 that you need to improve.
So here, for instance, you can see.
For each question, when you score, it has a description. So it has some form of benchmarking, which is only descriptive for now. It's narrative. So it will tell, so if you say 0 is, you didn't take this into account at all, and you say, okay, I want to reach at least 1 or at least 2, the description in 1 and 2 will give you an idea of what you need to do to be able to score yourself.
Okay, so it's an indication if you were consistent with what you answered to your question.
Yes.
It's not that it recommends you.
It doesn't recommend you what to do to achieve a 2.
Or what is missing
3.
or whatever. It's just taking you back to your question to check what did you miss to.
So it's a self-check. Okay. And it's mostly about thinking, have I taken everything into consideration? Because you might not have when you get to this tool. Then when you read all the questions, you realize that you might not have done a lot of things. But in the next version, we would like to do exactly this. So where you score 0, you don't only have the benchmarking to say
yes, this is what I understood that it was. So that's why
you reach 2 or 3. It also links you to resources and best practice case studies to see what you might want to do.
Okay.
For instance, just to carry on the example here, this is the water management theme, and it asks you, does your master plan include sustainable urban drainage systems? I don't know if you're aware of these are, but it's basically drainage systems to manage the rainfall, which work in a sustainable manner. They're not the traditional pipes and grates. They allow the water to infiltrate naturally and to enrich the aquifer. These systems are used widely now. In the UK, when I was working 20 years ago, there were you had to incorporate them unless you had proof that it was impossible to incorporate. Okay, so in Cyprus, it's just starting now. These systems, Limassol use them quite a lot. Nicosia less so at the moment, but we're seeing now in large developments that these systems have been used. So, for instance, in your design, have you taken these into account? Have you spoken to somebody, a specialist, to explain to you how you could incorporate these systems and improve the water quality and minimize water runoff? If you have not, then it's an indication that it's something you should do. So even though it doesn't give you direct instructions, it's clear by reading these answers here what steps you could take to improve it. Have I helped?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions here or in Athens or online?
I have a question.
Jacob has a question.
I think it's more personal, not related to the stamp. Why are they doing a 4th master plan? And did the stamp here convince them that they need a 4th master plan?
I don't know. I heard this today. That there's a new master plan. I don't know yet, Diagos. I will let you know.
You didn't give them feedback using stamp then?
No, I don't think they have used the stamp tool I think they started working on it, but you're right, we should. In fact, one of the things we should do is see how we can make this tool part of the process of the authorities. Because I think it would be useful to them too. We did have a presentation to the authorities. They did show interest, but I think we need to, Ilaria, see how they can we can work on assisting them to incorporate it into their decision making.
Mainstreaming.
Yes.
Even better, I don't like this, but maybe AI. How can we make it automatic?
Yeah.
Incorporate.
We're open to all ideas.
Okay. Are there any questions in Athens, Harry?
Hi, Ilaria. No, we don't have any questions until now. Unfortunately, we've lost the first 5 minutes of the presentation. Probably this may create any problems. I had just one question, but I think that the last one has already answered my question. Okay. I think Jakub was asked that.
Okay.
So we're okay. Thank you, Achilleas, for the presentation.
Thank you very much, everybody. We're happy to have any comments or suggestions about how to improve the tool. We're very happy to hear them.
Thank you, Achilleas. We'll see if any of the students here use it for their assignment before the end of the year, and we'll let you know, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.